You're listening to the LONGBOX CRUSADE podcast, episode 43, featuring Kickers Incorporated number 7, cover dated May 1987. Hello and welcome to the 43rd episode of the original LONGBOX CRUSADE podcast, back in the old school ways, when this was the only show we did. This is where it all started. But now we've done 43 of them. Can you believe it? I am your host, Jared Albrecht, the yard sale artist, a.k.a. Death Probe. LONGBOX CRUSADE is a podcast where each episode, a random cover month and year is chosen, and then an issue is selected from one of the LONGBOX CRUSADE crew members' comic collection. It's very alliterative. Each episode, we will summarize, review, and reminisce about the issue, ads, and the events of that time period. And I'm going to introduce my LBC crew, and I'm doing an audible. I'm changing it up. We now have to do 10 words or less, which no one has ever stuck to except for me, and I think Delvin once or twice. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to introduce you, and we're going to be talking tonight about Kickers Incorporated number 7 as part of Marvel's new universe. And when I introduce you, I would like your thoughts on the new universe. Maybe you had a favorite. Maybe you got into it. Maybe you didn't. Let me know what you thought. We will start with the founder of the network, is Pat Sampson, DJ Christados. Welcome to the show and your thoughts on the new universe. 30 seconds, let's go.
It was
25.
New. It was a universe, and it was new.
And it was yeah, okay. Did you get into it as a comic reader?
Not when it came out at all. But as these years have gone by, I have been pulling them out of the bins, or bin diving, been pulling them out, and I have some, but I still haven't read any. So this is, I think, actually the first new universe comic that I have read.
All right, let's go around the horn and check in with Jason Albrecht, the Weasel Skull himself. Welcome back to LONGBOX CRUSADE. New universe, Jason.
Yeah, new universe. You probably remember that was kicking about when we were at Fort Hood, Texas. And I was interested. I dabbled in it. My favorite title was Mark Hazard Merc. I thought that was pretty cool. It was kind of a Punisher-esque comic book. Lots of guns and stuff. That was fun. I read a little bit of Starbrand, Spitfire, and the Troubleshooters. And interestingly, in the Avengers these days, there's a little bit of new universe crossover. There's like a new Starbrand in the Avengers world. So still kicking about a little bit today, but yeah, I dabbled in the verse.
All right. Continuing around, we have Delvin, the Dark Web Williams. Welcome back to the LONGBOX CRUSADE for the 43rd episode, New Universe.
I got my water heater repaired. There we go. 10 words or less.
Yes, you nailed it. Hot water.
I should have been paying more attention. I have no new universe experience at all, other than seeing the house ads from Marvel back in the day. And I remember seeing that. I was like, I wonder what the heck that is. And then I never went any further than that. I don't even remember seeing any of these on the stands. And as a kid, I would go to the store with my mom all the time and just sit there and read every comic book under the sun while she went, did the grocery shopping. I never remember seeing New Universe ever.
Which may have been one of its issues. And I'm not sure, but about an hour or so before we recorded, I went to Twitter and I basically said, hey, Twitter folks, what are your thoughts on the New Universe? And I will share some of them with you before we go into our first promo break. And we got a fair amount of responses. Alpha Flight Fandom said, I like the freshness of it. He said, embarrassingly, Kickers Incorporated was my favorite, which is great because that's what we're going to talk specifically about here shortly. It didn't feel like a ripoff of X-Men or Iron Man or Punisher like a few of the other New Universe titles did. The idea of a popular football player that could get powers and utilize both to do good served fresh to me. So, all right. Stalnoy Volk 3 said, good ideas, but bad execution. And I pressed him a little bit on that. I said, how so? Why do you think it was poorly executed? He said everything from the stories to the characters seemed to feel bland and uninteresting. Also, everyone pay attention on this because I think this one's a key. There was a lack of any good antagonists. No one had a good rogues gallery. Universe felt disconnected, and it did not feel like a lived-in world. And I gotta be honest with you guys, that one hit home for me because Jason and I did dabble in New Universe, and I've probably read even more since. And if you ask me to name one villain from the New Universe, I can't do it.
That's fair.
Fair. And I'm like, that is, when I was reading through these and getting these, we got quite a few over the last hour. I'll try to get to a few more. But that one really hit me. I was like, hey, I couldn't tell you, I could name a bunch of teams and heroes, but not a single villain. Friend of the show, Van Allen Plexico, said, number 1, if Jim Shooter was behind it, I was reading it. So check. Number 2, it was funny that they destroyed Pittsburgh since Shooter is from Pittsburgh. Number 3, I also like Warren Ellis's return to the New Universe a few years later. New Universal, everything went white. I was unfamiliar with that, but that was Van Plexico.
I remember seeing the house ad.
Yeah, okay.
There was a house ad for it. That's all I got. House ads.
House ad. Delvin only knows this universe through house ads. No further questions. Friend of the show, Kirk Spencer, said, I was excited about it. At the point in my collecting life, New Universe from Marvel seemed like an incredible thing to witness. Merc was my favorite title. The Zek covers probably helped that a lot, and DP7 was probably my second favorite. In the chat, our friend Matt Pasto said, I don't think I ever read any of them. I remember seeing the ads, Delvin.
But Me too, Jared. I saw the ads too. They're house ads. House ads.
House ads. Shut up already. Damn. Boom, 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 boom. Prince jokes. All right. Phil Chills and Thrills says, I was a fan of Starbrand and DP7 throughout their runs. I became a big fan of Justice when Peter David and Lee Weeks came onto the book about halfway through. Wow. Peter David and Lee Weeks on Justice.
They seem to have some good name, good talent.
You heard me say Zek there a minute ago too, didn't you?
Yeah. Ooh, Beatty Zek.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about who drew the cover of Kickers 7 here shortly. There's a lot of talent in here. Anyway, Law Dog said, big DP7 fan here, collected the whole thing.
Law don't go around here, Law Dog.
And Jason with the tombstone quotes. Van Al Plexico returned with a number 4, by the way. He gave us 1 through 3 in one tweet and came back with another one. Shooter was always trying to launch new universes. After this at Marvel, he went and started Valiant with Bob Layton and company and then Defiant. Chase Kilgannon. Chase said, very little unique flavor. Everything felt plain, it's safe, and didn't challenge the reader. I didn't read much because it was dry. If I remember, there was a good story going during the Uncanny X-Men, which kind of buried this unit. Marshall,
I think the Fall of the Mutants was going on around the same time that these were out, if my memory serves.
I think you're right. It feels like 87.
I remember the Fall of the Mutants house ads, too. Just wanted to put that out there, If you want to know what I know about the house ads, I mean, really? Yeah.
Somebody out there put the over-under on Delvin's use of house ads on this episode and then take the over. Let's see. Marshall Victory said, I read DP7 and Starbrand when I could find them on the Spinner Act. I liked them and Justice seemed good too, but they were hard to come by, which is I think what Pat was saying. And Delvin was definitely saying, sitting at that Spinner Rack and not seeing them, which is weird because I know Jason and I picked them up at the Spinner Rack at the shop in Texas. I know we did. We got some more love for DP7 from Factual Fact Check After Dark. Just said DP7, best one. Chris, who likes hot butter on his, and then it got cut off, so I don't know what the next word is.
It's popcorn, Jared. It's popcorn.
I don't know. I'm not going to click on it. Honest answer, I was puzzled by it. I thought most of the ideas were visually pretty lame, and a couple of conceptually as well. While there were some decent artists on it, aside from John Romita Jr., no one whose work really knocked my socks off. I sampled some issues, but then moved on. C. Chris Yang says DP7 by a mile. It had the only consistent creative team of Grunwald and Ryan, and the most relatable storylines and characters. I can see that. DP7 was pretty cool.
What did DP7 stand for?
I don't remember.
These putts.
Dark Phoenix?
Oh, man. You beat me to it.
Oh. Chris Sheridan said, I liked it, and then I hated it, and now I have a full run of it in my collection. He rode the roller coaster of that one. All right, we got a bunch more, so I will cut to the chase and end with... actually, I'll line. I'm going to do two more because I think this one is another good insight from Slider Wave. Said, it was cool to be in on the ground floor of a new Marvel universe. Definitely like DP7, Spitfire the Troubleshooters, and Starbrand. It's too bad that Jim Shooter's budget was cut so badly, or else we might have this new universe as part of the modern Marvel lineup. And then we had one from friend of the show, former guests have come out to play with Delvin and I, comic book writer of The New Warriors and many other things, Fabian Nicieza, co-creator of Deadpool, weighed in and said, because these are the questions I asked in the original post, was what are your opinions of the 80s Marvel New Universe? He said, an interesting idea done at the wrong time and in the wrong way. I asked, what was your favorite book or character? He said, Cyforce. I said, what drew you to it? He said, they let me write it. I said, what pushed you away from it? He said, it got canceled. So there you have it. Lots of feedback. I wish I could have got to everybody's. Thank you, everybody, over on the Twitter X for playing my little game there. I really just want to do that up front here, do it as a table setter, get everybody in a new universe mindset. Some people clearly love it. Some people clearly were put off by it. Was it bad timing? Was it bad branding? Clearly, they did good house ad work. Clearly, they did.
Clearly, they did. Fantastic. House ad.
So there's the new universe. I have not been watching the chat. Anything in the chat about it? Delvin, you're usually good at that.
Nothing new other than Matt Passo says, if these guys are football players, I may have to dig into it. I just grabbed NFL Super Pro 1 through 12, which begs the question, they made 12 of them?
I didn't know it made it to 12, but I smell a phone call to Tim Benson at Omaha Bound coming.
Well, usually they're on the field, you have about 11 players.
Okay,
and then
we're going to go to, we invite you to be part of the show by submitting your comments and memories to be featured on a future show. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, the X Twitter, the YouTube. It's all at Longbox Crusade. Of course, you can leave us a voicemail, 707-532-5269, 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the house ad!
Yes. And please do call in if you're listening to this in podcast form. It's not too late. Give us a call. Tell us what you thought about the new universe. Which titles appealed to you? If they didn't appeal to you, why not? We'd love to know. We hope you come along with us on this crusade to read them all. Now, before we get started with this episode's specific issue review, I want to thank everybody for taking part in my little new universe game. I think we're all in the right headspace now. And let's take a quick podcast promo break. We will be right back.
We got it all together for a brand new show. The LBC crew is here and so away we go. While the LBC crew is running from a spooky ghost, Christatos is doing what he does the most. Hey, come on, get involved till the mystery is solved. Hang around with the LBC crew. Oh, hey, come on, get involved till the mystery is solved. Hang around with the LBC crew. That's the podcast. LBC crew.
Welcome back from the break. Today's adventure from the long box is Kickers Incorporated number 7, cover dated May 1987. Pat, I have to do a lot of talking on this episode. Would you be so kind as to regale us with the issue credits?
Well, Jared, I am glad you asked, because I like to regale about the issues and where it was from. So, speaking about the issue, the credits for this issue are always provided by Mike's Amazing World. Go and check it out. Publisher was Marvel. It's got a cover date of May 1987. On sale date was, though, February 3rd, 1987. Cover price was 75 cents. Ooh, they're charging you for that new universe. Cost you another quarter. Editor was Michael Higgins. Writer is Terry Kavanaugh. Penciler is Rod Wiggum. Inker is Tony DiZuniga. Letterer is Kenneth Brusnak. Colorist is John Wellington. And the cover credits go to artist John Buscema.
Oh,
Ooh.
It's probably too late for me to make a Chief Wiggums from the... I don't know. I'll let it go.
Well, when he hit Michael Higgins as the editor, I was going to do a whole TC.
Sure.
And then Rick, a whole line of Magnum jokes, but the time has passed. Yeah. You know what it is time for, though? The cover description. And we go to Jared for that. Jared, will you give us a cover description? Sure will, Jared. And I'm glad you asked. Here we go. The new universe banner is black with yellow letters, and Jake Magnaconti stands boldly in the red corner box. The Kickers Incorporated logo is white with red highlights. The main action, and that's the only pun in this one, is definitely an homage to Buscema's work during his Tarzan days. And I'm pretty sure it's also an homage to a Hercules versus a lion painting that I know I've seen before. It's like a piece of classic art. I even found an image of it, but I only found the image and couldn't find the credits. So really, only the guys with their script up can see the image I'm talking about, and they could probably tell you, yeah, it looks a lot like this Kickers Incorporated cover. Anyway, the cover features Kickers lead man, and I love to say this name, Jake Magnaconti, battling a white lion. The background reveals that this is a circus lion as the crowd and Magnaconti's fellow Kickers gasp in fear and awe. All right, guys, what do we think about the cover? We'll go counterclockwise this time, starting with Delvin the Dark Web. Williams, thoughts on the cover?
I believe I had some Magna Conte at that Italian restaurant one time.
Yeah, it's got that ricotta cheese in it. Oh,
yes. Yeah, with crushed pepper going on. That's a cool cover. That lion looks ferocious, and you have to be a ferocious man if you're fighting a ferocious lion, all right? Lots of ferocity. His teammates should be helping him instead of watching him, unless they know that he's going to kick that lion's butt. In which case, then it's like, yeah, sit back, watch Mr. Magnificent, take care of this. Mr. Magnificent, by the way, that was not my nickname in college. No one called me that.
Yeah, I'm guessing one of those people was the backup quarterback.
I think it's important to point out that I think of all the kickers, I think Jake's the only one with powers. So that might explain it. They're just like, yeah, you tackle the line. we'll be on crowd control.
You get them. So, other than that, it's a cool cover. Like, I do like the cover. So let's pass it to Jason.
Yeah, Delvin, you took mine. There's no I in team, but apparently there's one in vivisection because this guy's about to get himself torn up. It's a great action cover. It really is. That lion just takes up the majority of it, and it just really shows how small Mr. Magnificent there is when he's fighting the lion. I really like how that left rear claw is like digging into his leg. It just looks really visceral. And then it's also kind of cool because you have the circus background, so it makes you wonder, like, what's going on here? Apparently we're in some sort of circus setting. We've got this guy fighting a lion. It makes you want to open the book. So, yeah, I got to say, strong cover.
And that leaves you, Peppy Pat.
I kind of like the Kickers Inc. title. It's interesting. And I'm like, is this really going to be about football? Or is it
more than you could possibly imagine?
Is it just about, a bunch of kickers that got together on their off day and like trying to do something? But man, it's done really cool. And as everybody else is saying too, the detail in this is really good as well too. Just the lines and just the action that it's portraying. Jared, what color is that lion on there? Did you say?
I know it's coming. It's a white lion.
Wait.
I knew it. I knew it's coming.
I'm surprised nobody got there yet.
Jason was like, just jump.
I was just jealous. That Pat thought of it and I didn't.
And seeing this action, hopefully there weren't kids in the stand because you don't want to make the children cry at all.
You got two.
That's all they had, just the two waiting when the children's cry. But oh yeah, I like it. It's a really interesting cover. Makes me want to open it up and what is actually going on there? Why is a guy who can kick fighting a lion? Is he kicking him?
false advertising. He's not the kicker. Just real quick, some thoughts from me. Echo everything you guys say. I think it's a really, really cool cover. I think it's really John Buscema saying, "Hey, remember when I drew Tarzan? was that cool? Because that's really what's going on here, right?" And I like sort of the beat or the pattern of White Kicker's title font, white lion, white hair on Jake Magnificente, white pants on the kicker. Like it's just white beats of white as it goes down the page. And I thought that was kind of cool. Some people might ask, Jared, why did you pick Kickers Incorporated number 7? And I found it at Goodwill recently. There was a small stack of just sort of this very beat up. It's got some creases in the cover. And it even has a stick spot here because they actually did the sticker, the price tag sticker on the cover.
Savages.
Which is disgusting. By the way, I peeled off it, but you could still feel where, like, look, watch this. It's stick to my.
Yeah. It's like having jelly or peanut butter on your hands and everything you touch. It's just,
But
But while disgusting, you do get to say kicker sticker, and that's kind of fun.
That's right. That is fun to say, the kicker sticker. But I don't know. There's something charming about just seeing one of these laying around in the wild at a Goodwill, and I was like, of course I'm going to pick that up. And so that's how it made its way to the Longbox Crusade, ladies and gentlemen. And it is a pretty cool cover. And anytime there's this dude straight up fighting a lion on the cover, be it Tarzan or Kickers Incorporated, I gotta know more. I gotta know more. All right, with that, I am going to get into the synopsis of the issue. The title is Clown Time is Over. The local New Jersey cops don't believe Hobie, the town drunk, when Hobie tells them that there's a murderous monster in the woods. So Hobie, he calls Kickers Incorporated. The Kickers are a New York football team called the Smashers, and they're also a paranormal investigation group in their spare time, as you do. After a last-minute victory to clinch a berth in the division finals, one of the Kickers, Suicide Smythe, takes the lead that Hobie called in, and all signs point to a circus. And sure enough, Suicide finds a body, but is promptly kidnapped by the evil circus members. But the rest of the team is hot on the trail and works together to defeat the murderous circus freaks and still make it back in time to defeat Chicago and make it all the way to the Super Bowl. But Jake accidentally grievously injures an opposing player and starts to wonder if being a professional athlete with superpowers is really a good idea after all.
It's a great idea. It's the best idea ever.
And with that, we will talk about the story, and why not let Jason just keep going? Jason, round 1, what do you got? Actually, I lied. There's no rounds. This is Longbox Crusade. So get it all out in one. You get the lead story on the story. What do you think?
So the story, man, I've always kind of liked those themes where you have a person or a group that does one thing professionally and kind of does something else on the side. We all remember the Fall Guy, right? Fall Guy was like, I'm a stunt man, but I also am a bounty hunter, right? And so this kind of had that feel. It was interesting. And you talked a little bit about villains at the beginning, and I agree with you, Jared, and whoever wrote in. Like, I cannot remember a good villain from any of these theories. And yet, you had so much potential right here with all these circus folks. I almost said freaks, but you will say folks.
I said freaks in the write-up. So
all right, okay, circus freaks, right? There's a whole bunch of really creepy, interesting people that you could build a whole rogues gallery here. It's like Joker on steroids. I don't know if they went any further with this villainous crew or not, but there was definitely potential here. To me, the thing that I kept I kind of liked it because I would get into it is the football games. Like seeing them on the field. They went panel by panel, play by play. I felt like I was watching a game a couple places. So hats off to the storytellers for putting that together and keeping me hooked in comic book format through that. I don't know, though, like, if I needed so much of that. I kind of wish I would have got more of the paranormal story. It's almost like the football stuff to me was more interesting than the paranormal story, and I don't know if that's where we were going or where the creative team wanted us to go. I think that's a good place for me to stop.
I'm going to wholeheartedly agree with you, by the way. I was very impressed with how they did the football game. Like, it was not the cursory, what you would see in most comic books. Like, oh, there's a touchdown. Like, they took it seriously. For better or worse, for better or worse. So it definitely caught my attention. Delvin, we'll go to you. Did it catch your attention? Better, worse? And then, what else you got?
I'm not sure. I'd say I would lean more towards yes. But to me, the premise is just weird and disjointed. Like, what's the one player on the team that you would be able to recognize without their helmet? The quarterback. I've rooted for Auburn now for since school, almost 30 dang years. I can tell you probably every quarterback that ever started for Auburn, like, and could probably point him out if I saw him now. Like, the defensive tackles? No, I couldn't. And I'm saying that to say, Mans doesn't even wear a mask. So, like, he's just out there fighting lions and ish, and not even with any secret identity, and no one is like, aren't you the quarterback for, like, the team that just made it to the Super Bowl?
That's a fair point. I'm ashamed of myself. I didn't think of that.
It seems like an improbable juxtaposition. Like, even more so, like, because I was wondering, like, when they were like, we're gonna do, like, the coach was like, do the LA Smash, and of course, and Mr. Magnificent was like, do the LA Smash. And the coach was like, do the LA Smash. And he's like, okay. And so, cause I'm wondering, it's like, why would, like, so the play is designed for the quarterback to be one-on-one against the defender? That doesn't seem probable. And then he destroys the guy. And the reason why he destroyed him is because he had superpowers. Sir, you are not a good person. That is immoral. What are you doing? Like,
somewhere Jonathan Kent is like, no.
Right? The only comparison that I have, I was rolling through, my mental comic book Rolodex, and it's like, superhero something that also played sports with normal humans. And the only thought that I had was Mayday Parker, Spider-Girl. Spider-Girl did it. And she was wrestling with it sort of like Mr. Magnificent, and was like, should I be doing this? Like, I have powers. Isn't this a little bit immoral? Yes, it is. Like, you have the proportional agility and strength of a spider out there. You're crossing cats up. You're not supposed to be doing that. It is the same thing in football. It's like, oh, I gave this guy a concussion. Am I a bad human being? Yes, you are. and it's just such a weird, two more things. It's a weird juxtaposition to be a football player who already has a brutal physical job, and then you're doing crime fighting at night. It's like, your body has to be freaking linguini. And it's like, aren't you tired? I do jujitsu a few times a week. I'm exhausted all the time. And the last thing is kickers. Of all the football players you're going to name yourself after, you're going to name yourself after a kicker? Not quarterbacks, Inc., not defensive tackle, Inc., kickers?
They usually score more points than anybody else.
That's true. But kickers?
That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad get for what it's worth. But last time, kickers? Also house hats.
Right. So this dude is out there playing the Lions, and then he's fighting the Lions.
Right?
Nonstop.
That's double lion. You're not supposed to do that. I think you're supposed to pay extra for that.
All right, some more thoughts on kickers. I'll tell you what, we're about to go to Pat, and I think we all have so far the same feeling. Like, I kind of like this book, and I kind of think it's weird, and I kind of don't know. And you know me, I like wacky, so it's kind of in my sweet spot, like football players who are also paranormal investigators. Why not? And it's weird. Pat, thoughts?
Yeah, I was not sure what I was getting into when I opened this up. I'm like, what are these guys about? What's going on here? But I did, like Jason said, I started going like, wow, they really laid out these football scenes very good that I'm like, yeah. And so I felt like I was watching a game. You had the commentary that was going on, telling you what was happening. The art was making it very presentable. I'm like, oh man, are they really going to make it? Well, yeah, of course they're going to make it. They're going to make it to the big game, but it was still really good and laid out. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the rest of the story about? Is it just about them trying to get to the Super Bowl or something like that?
It does seem like the writers are very seriously have an edict that is like, this is as much about football as it is paranormal investigation and superpowers.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, well, this is kind of cool, because I was also then too, was like, well, what is going on? What's happening? And then once you saw that it was, the band of circus people that were, out to get a little more money or whatever they were doing, it was really, and also kind of a brutal one too, to see, one, that they, they're killing people in here and then stuffing them in boxes. And then obviously they're feeding them to this white lion. I was like, wait a minute.
Wait.
You're feeding it to the lion?
The children are going to cry.
Again. They're going to. Don't let the children know.
Which band is this? Like, y'all are cracking up. And
it's White Lion.
Okay. Got
White Lion. You never heard of White Lion? Wait.
Don't act like White Lion is common. It ain't common. You act like I didn't know what Bon Jovi was. It's fucking White Lion.
James Bon Jovi, what?
I'm going back on mute.
It was an interesting story to kind of read, and then just where they leave you off at too at the end. It's like, oh, okay, well, do I kind of want to read the next one to see what happens? Is he going to go in the Super Bowl, or is he going to, tell his story to the commissioner, and find out that, oh man, what's he going to do? I think to myself, what would Roger do? What would Mr. Goodell do? Would he let it go by? Would he not let it go by? I don't know.
It depends on if the star player is dating like a mega star in the pop world.
Yeah,
I think probably has some contemporary references now.
He'd probably come to a swift, decision on that. I bet.
Yeah.
I think if I can be serious for just a second.
What?
I'll try. I think from a storytelling element, Mr. Magnificent is interesting. Delvin brings up a good point. We haven't really seen a character who's had to seriously struggle with getting superpowers. I don't know how he got them, but he's obviously stronger, faster than your normal athlete on the field.
Hey, Jason.
Yes.
I think he was bit by a radioactive kicker.
I try to be serious. I try. This is what I got to watch.
I didn't. I did not at all. My attempt was 0. Please continue.
Well, but my point is, if this is kind of his journey to going, because he's a professional athlete in the prime of his career, and he wants to stay on top, obviously. So that's a big life-changing decision, and it looks like the arc of the moral universe is driving him towards that realization that you said, Delvin, that it's not fair, it's not right, and it's not what he's meant to do on this earth. Now, what the rest of those jokers are doing with him, I have no idea. But for Mr. Magnificent, I think it is an interesting storytelling arc. I'm not sure if that's where they're going, but I kind of hope it is, because then, those football games have extra meaning and really kind of impact the character development.
I think it does, though, because when you think about it, once you learned that he has some sort of a power, right? And you find out that he is kind of holding back now. And he has been. Because I thought in reading the football side of it, I was like, man, his coach is really mad at him. Or, this guy's supposed to be a pro and all that. And the coach is really getting down on him. And, hey, there's your replacement over there. If you don't do good, that guy's stepping in your place. And like, once I found out that he was holding back on his power, it's like, oh, okay, so this is what he's doing. And, it made those scenes even better, I think, for me.
Well, cool. So, lots to talk about in Kickers Incorporated. Interesting interesting book, to say the least. Well, let's talk about the art in the book. The story, interesting. We're a little all over the place, and, well, that's frankly how the book felt, too. But we are going to shift gears and talk about the art, although I did see a comment. We are doing the super secret recording for Crusaders Club members only. Matt Passo is in the chat, and I saw a comment from him I had to read. He said, I do like how they're all dressed as Chuck Norris from the Karate Commandos. Is this a special cosplay issue? And he's right. He is dressed like him. They are all dressed like Karate Commandos. Yeah, interesting. And since he's talking about the visual look, it's a good segue to talk about the art. And this time we will start with Pat.
On the art, I thought it was serviceable. It was all right. They really did do well in those football scenes, I think, just to convey the action and some of the plays that were going on. I could definitely follow along with it. Outside of that, with the other characters and when they go to the circus, there was some good artwork in that as well, too, that all the way through, I thought it was pretty good.
Did the name Rod Wiggum not jump out at you, Pat, as the penciler?
It sounds familiar, but
Did he do that Green Lantern?
I don't know about the Green Lantern.
The fridge.
No, that was my buddy Daryl Banks.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, your best friend.
Jerry's friend.
Yeah, my best friend Daryl.
I'm sorry. I don't know how
the names. Oh man,
Rod Wiggum drew. I don't know. I'm going to throw out a number: 75 issues of G.I. Joe.
Oh,
he's the G.I. Joe guy, man. The post Herb Trimpe G.I. Joe guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Rod drew a lot of G.I. Joe.
Man, I'm surprised I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I'm ashamed to podcast about G.I. Joe with you, Pat.
Yep.
Moving on.
You should be.
It's funny now. You go back and look, and you'll start going, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see the G.I. Joe."
You can now, yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, like, oh yeah,
definitely. All right, let's go to Delvin.
I'm actually glad you came to me because I don't have a lot to say about the art. I thought it was serviceable as well. I'll add in the barb that you guys should be ashamed that you're covering G.I. Joe because it's not as good as the Transformers. And I have really nothing else because I know that Jason, this is the artwork that Jason loves. Like, he likes this artwork and he's going to be able to like wax poetic and say a whole bunch of cool stuff about it and everything that I can't. So I cede the floor to Jason.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Well said.
There you go. I think I like the art probably a little more. I particularly like we talked about with the football scenes. To me, that's kind of difficult to really keep me engaged. And it's just good storytelling, good panel layout. It gets a little weaker for me when they're fighting the circus folks. Again, I just think that they got some interesting looking circus villains there. We've got some Tigra looking woman. We've got some dude with a gun. We got some trapeze artists. It's got a good group of folks, and then when the team goes into action against them, it looks like they're trying to do football-y stuff. And that just looks a little buffoonish to me. I don't know. Might just be my taste. I'll wrap it up with something that I do like, though. Facial expressions. The look on page 16 when Mr. Magnificent doesn't know his own strength and kills the lion. That's a good image. So overall, I'd say above average art, not the best I've ever seen, but a little more than serviceable in my opinion.
Well, there you have it. I like the art as well. Like Rod Wiggum. Like you said, I think that dude drew 75, 80 issues of G.I. Joe. Transformers didn't get over 80 issues, which is a shame, but G.I. Joe was better, so it got a lot more than that. But anyway, yeah, I've been holding on to that for about 8 minutes.
That's fair. That's fair. You had every right to do that.
Anyways, yeah, I won't add or take away. Let's just get into who's got a favorite page from this book. Like, if you could have just one page from Kickers Incorporated number 7 to show off to your friends and family, which one do you go with? I think we all want the John Buscema cover. It's so good, but let's pick a Rod Wiggum page from inside. And Jason, why don't we start with you?
I'll go with the one I talked about where he's fighting the lion. It starts with him bending the bars to that lion's cage, which really shows how much strength he has, fighting the lion, killing the lion rather easily, actually. It's a little a little bit different than what they showed on the cover. And then his facial expression at the end when he realizes what he did. I think that's just a really poignant page all around.
Not bad at all. So let's go to Pat.
Well, I'm going to go with, towards the end, the page of the football game, the start of it. I think that's a good page that kind of represents what this comic kind of is with some of the football stuff. So, and what the wording has on it. So it kind of gives you a play-by-play of what's going on. So I like that one.
All right. We got Killing a Lion. We've got some football action. Delvin, bring us home.
I'll take the cover, please. Thank you. No further questions.
Well, you said no further questions, so I guess we're stuck here.
Okay. I'm not the craziest about Mr. Wiggum's art. Nothing was bad. And I want to say that. And obviously, if I were charged with drawing a 22-page book, it'd be a whole hell of a lot of stick figures. So I just want to put that out there too. So I'll take the first page at least. The first page was a good specter to the rest of the story of where the drunk guy was running away from what looked like a mythical creature almost. And he was freaked the heck out, and that started the adventure. So I'll go with page 1. What about you, Jared?
I thought that was a great grabber as well. And I don't think you can go wrong with page 1. One thing that we didn't really talk about is this book has a pretty heavy panel count. Not a huge word count. I don't think it was overly wordy, but every page has a lot of panels. So you don't really get any big moment art pieces in this aside from that first page, to be honest with you.
That's right, Jared. You sure don't.
It's very chopped up by panels, which again, good, serviceable. Rod Wiggum. I mean, that's why he got put on G.I. Joe, right? It's a book that was, if rumors are to believe, notoriously difficult to draw for a demanding writer and to stay on schedule. And Rod just had that ability to go fast and also make changes and so on and so forth. So I think it shows here. Okay, guys. It is May of 1987. Does this book bring back any memories? I know Jason and I have some kind of direct memories because we were in the new universe. But what's May of 1987 look like for you as far as comic books or any other significant life events? Jason, you go ahead and speak for the both of us, and we'll check in with the other fellas.
Okay. So I'm 16 years old at this time. Jack and Diane's on the radio. Hold on to 16 as long as you can. Things are going pretty good. We're living in West Fort Hood, Texas. There's a nice little shopette within walking distance where we can get all the comic books and Little Debbie's that we can stomach. And Mom tries grounding us. I think, wasn't that the time she tried grounding us from the comic books? Yeah,
from comic books.
Yeah. And she's like, give me all your comic books. And she puts them in the laundry room. And so we still go and we keep buying comic books. And then we would just read them at the playground, smuggle them back into the house, and then put them on the stash that she'd confiscated from us. So by the time we got the comic book stack back, when our punishment in air quotes was over, our stack was like 3 times as large as when it came in. Those were good times. Little Debbie's, comics, and New Universe was hitting the stand. So it was fun times.
I concur. I'm going to drop in one more funny comment that I missed earlier from Matt Passo in the super secret chat for club members only. If you want to be like Matt and watch us record this live and see how the sausage is made, just go to patreon.com/LongBoxCrusade. Matt said, imagine if one of the guys at Kickers Incorporated was your number 1 scoring fantasy football guy and you see out due to a lion clawing his leg.
That is hilarious. And and just to add, you're like, why would he be around a lion anyway? What is going on? Why isn't he at practice? Hilarious. That's funny. That is funny as hell, Matt.
Delvin, you've got the mic. It's May of 1987.
I can't think of any memories from. I just turned 10 years old. I was 10. So I can tell you that the issue of Transformers that came out at the time was Transformers issue 28. And looks like Goldbug and Blaster struck out on their own, and they were attacked by the mechanic. So
the mechanic.
Yep. So there was that.
Did Mike help at all, or?
No. Mechanic all on his own. Said it loud, said it clear. So
see, he's got that one good to go. I love it.
I know Mike and the Mechanics a little bit at least. So the living years. It's a classic.
I'm glad he got it because it's too late when we die.
So yeah, just looking at the cover, it was a cool cover. We're still on the Bob Budiansky run and Transformers Chronicles, but I know at the time I was not going to a comic book store yet. I was probably just going to like either the local drugstore, Big B Drugs, or the local Food World and picking up some comic books there, because those are the days that you could do stuff like that, which is awesome. And they need to go back to that. But yeah, that's my a portion of this.
Absolutely agree on going back to spinner racks, which is what Jason and I are pulling these off of. And, you know, some of the people earlier in the show talked about how it was hard for them to find. I guess we were just lucky that whoever was doing the ordering for the PX and Shopette system at Fort Hood was putting a variety out there, because we got a few of these. Pat, it's May of 1987.
It is. And you know what that means? It's May. So I am just turning 14 in May, and it's towards the end of freshman year in high school. So a lot going on for the big Pat here. Getting ready for manhood, getting ready for
how's that going?
Manhood? I'm still waiting for it. I thought it was coming, but
judging by the beard, it's come and gone.
Yeah, it's come and gone. But it's a good time. That time I do remember. And like Delvin, I don't think I was going to a comic shop. So if it wasn't at the PDQ on the rack there or at the mall in the Walden Books, I wasn't seeing this thing at all. And which is surprising me, because I would have thought maybe Walden Books might have had something, but it just didn't catch my eye, because I was going to Walden Books to pick me up some Joe. That's what I would do. I probably had this time too. I probably had a newspaper route that I was doing, making that cash selling.
Nice. That's an all-American story right there, man. Newspaper route so you can buy comics.
Yep.
Love it.
And candy.
Ow. It's all 80s song references tonight.
I was just getting excited because it dawned on me that since it's 87, I'll probably know the music this time. So.
He's like, oh, yeah.
My time has come.
And I'm going to curveball it a little bit more because it's about time for us to move into the next segment. But I kind of wanted to touch base one more time on this whole new universe thing. I think we've kind of nailed down some of the issues with it. I think some of the issues were never had a strong protagonist, right? Or antagonist. I'm sorry. Never had a strong antagonist. We can't name a one. Hit and miss on certain places, whether you could buy it or not. And I think Marvel's almost a victim of their own success, because like we are at the height of X-Men storylines. Spider-Man storylines are hot right now. Transformers, G.I. Joe are insane. So it's almost like they have this wildly successful regular universe, and maybe it wasn't the world's best time to introduce this. It makes me think of when Marvel did it successfully, which would have been the Ultimate Universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there they didn't create they created some new characters, but the core was characters we knew, just in sort of an alternate timeline. And I wonder if that would have maybe helped the new universe if they had infused them maybe an alternate timeline or infused them with characters we already knew. But I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring in new readers to say, hey, which is exactly what they did with the Ultimate Universe, right? It was all about bringing in new readers, giving them access to not 40 years of continuity, right? So I get what they were doing. Those are my thoughts. Anybody else thoughts on this new universe as we kind of close it out?
That antagonist thing keeps coming back to me. Consider like Avengers 1. They fought Loki. Loki. Loki is amazing to where like he has a freaking mini series out now, like with, Marvel Disney. So or Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus is still around today. Dr. Octopus was freaking incredible. So just think about stuff like that. And who knows what X-Men, Magneto, issue 1. So Magneto still around. Magneto has been hero. Magneto has been villain. I can't remember Fantastic Four #1, but I'm pretty sure Dr. Doom was coming along pretty darn quickly if he wasn't issue 1. So
I think it was Mole Man was issue 1.
Mole Man, yeah. I think you're right.
Heck,
yep.
but Mole Man was memorable.
and still around.
And still around. It has a whole, there's a Mole Man Nation underground and all that. So plus Doctor Doom. All of these characters had intriguing villains, and those are the ones that can stand the test of time. And that's probably the thing, because at least you could tell there's at least some good components there, because as I think it was Jason who mentioned it, in recent Avengers, they brought back Starbrand. So either they reached into another universe to find her, or they found some just clever way to merge. Oh, well, then they merged all the universes at one point a few years back. So looks like New Universe was merged into Marvel Universe. And sure enough, Starbrand came around. So somewhere in the Marvel Universe, you got a football team with, the kickers around that, are still solving crime somewhere. They just haven't brought it up yet.
You're right. I think I also saw Night Mask make it into the Marvel Universe. I think Starbrand and Night Mask might have gotten their own book for a little while. Anyways, any other final thoughts on the new universe?
I think from a collector standpoint, because it didn't go that long, it's pretty probably obtainable for somebody to get the whole collection, right? Whether you're bin diving or you're just out searching for them somewhere, you can probably get all this and find it all. So maybe Jarrett's going to go and try to get Kickers, in hardbound.
Hardbound, the Kickers. Who knows?
It'd be kind of cool. So it's a doable universe to get into and find, and, obtainable thing to do.
I haven't looked at the math, by the way. They do that for us on Action Film Face, but not here. But I want to say a lot of these books did at least 12, maybe 24, maybe even some of them tip 30, which, we've mentioned this on previous episodes. You kind of got to tip the cap the new universe for a real authentic try, because that would never happen today. If they weren't selling gangbusters by book 2 or 3, it would be done.
They throw Wolverine in it.
Yep. Wolverine shows up in issue 3, Spidey in issue 4, Ghost Rider in issue 5, and you're done if you're not picked up on sales by then.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, you've got the mic. Final thoughts, new universe.
I just agree with everything you all said. I think it was a noble attempt. It didn't really land with me, but I admit I was at a used bookstore where they had a quarter bin, and I dove in and found some Mark Hazard Merc, and I've got a pretty good run stashed away in my collection right now. So maybe it did stick with me a little more, more than I originally thought. I never read Kickers before. This was the first issue of this that I've read. I think going back to this one, I'd need to read a couple more to see if it would really grab me. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with it,
I feel the same way.
But yeah, overall, really good effort. They brought top talent on it. They gave it their all. They can't all be home runs.
Or touchdowns, as the case may be. I'm right there with you, Jason's first Kickers I ever read. My new universe reading was heavily focused around, I like Spitfire and the Troubleshooters. Of course, you were buying Merc, so I had that as well. And kind of like you and Pat were saying, this is stuff that shows up in quarter bins now. And it's like, you think of it, at least I know Jason and I do, because we were like, I remember New Universe. We kind of dabbled in it. And if you're like me, you're like, for a quarter, will I read more? Yes. Yeah. Yes, I think I will,
Like I said, for me, it's that collector in me that goes, oh, well, I got New Universe. I can probably get a bunch of this for a decent price. And
if you got, I don't remember how many issues Kickers went. Let's say it did 20. At 25 cents a book, are you going to deny yourself a 20-issue run of football players that also investigate the paranormal?
Nah. I mean, there's, as I've seen over and over, as we have talked about, I mean, there's a reason the back issue bin market is booming right now. Heck yeah, I'll pick up a run of 15, 20 run of something. Oh my God, it set me back $12 whole.
Even if you don't like it, it's like, all right, about $12.
Yeah, as opposed to now, it's like, I'm going to pick up one issue of this new series and it's annual. It's like, that'll be $48, sir. What the?
Oh, did you want it stapled?
Did you want a bag and board? Oh, that's going to cost you.
Did you want to know how it ends? Because then you got to cross it over to this series. That's another $34. Like, geez.
Speaking of which, I encourage everyone to check out Action Film Face Off on the LONGBOX CRUSADE Network, where we will finish this discussion.
See what you did there.
I cracked myself up. We're not really going to do that. Although you should check out Action Film Face Off. But that does bring us to the end of this part of the show. As always, if you got a question or a comment, it's Longbox Crusade, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Skies. You can write it on a piece of notebook paper and write Longbox Crusade and put it in the mailbox and we will get it. That may not be true. Anywhere you can find our stuff, which is everywhere, just look up Longbox Crusade and give us a comment. And of course, 707-532-5269, 707-532 House Ad. I think that's what that's spelled.
Pick up the kicker.
We'll be right back.
I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am Batman.
You need to take out the trash.
I don't have time for that now. We have 2 podcasts I have to create a new promo for.
What? Both JLU Cast and Supermates?
Yes, JLU Cast, where you and I discussed the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited animated series from Bruce Timm and Company.
And Supermates, our original show where we talk about all sorts of geeky stuff, including our annual House of Frankenstein series on classic horror films. Yeah.
That's it. But how do we combine this into one promo?
I have no idea, but it sounds like we're doing our original Supermates promo all over again.
I kind of think we are, but hey, other folks kind of aped it, so it must have worked.
Well, why don't you get to work taking out the trash and I'll finish up.
Great.
So join us, Cindy
and Chris,
on JLU Cast and Supermates, both proudly part of the Fire and Water Podcast Network, found at fireandwaterpodcast.com and on iTunes.
Welcome back for the break. Let's get on with the show. We got our favorite segment. Well, my favorite. I love it. I love talking about this stuff. It is time for us to scan through the featured issue, which is, of course, Kickers Incorporated number 7, for the top ads that stood out to us in a segment we like to call Add It Up.
Add it up. Add it up.
What are our favorite ads in this issue that is chock full of wonderful ads? We'll start with Jason.
Well, I've got to go with what grew on me was the Strange Tales ad. I see what you did.
It's clever.
No, I think the Strange Tales ad is probably my favorite image out of the book. If I had to pick something to hang on my wall, that one with Doctor Strange, Cloak and Dagger. And that's just a great book, man. That's a great team up. They need to bring that back. Strange Tales. Great art.
Nice save, Pat. Very small on your screen for those of you who want to watch it. It's just to the right of the Gru ad, which is mine, by the way. I'm taking it. It's the Gru ad. It's a house ad. Shut up already. Damn. I'm totally taking that Gru ad. I have totally taken that Gru ad. And yes, if it was a poster, I'd hang it on my wall. So it's a 10 out of 10, even though we don't rate the ads. I love Gru and I don't care who knows it. Let's talk to Delvin. What's your favorite ad? Did you pick Gru as well, or you got something else for us?
I didn't pick Gru. I am going to first say that I jokingly saw the bodybuilder one about the car modeling, and it's like I did that because like I put together many models in my lifetime.
I can't believe it took me that long to catch the bit.
I mean, either. I was like, it's slow build, but it felt obvious.
I get that bit. I understand that one.
But the one I'm going to pick is the Chips Ahoy ad. It's a great ad. It's fun for kids to do like the mazes or whatever. And the whole point of it, if you were, say, a little bit of an older kid and you tried to do it, is that you could not get through the maze without touching a chocolate chip cookie, which is the point, that Chips Ahoy is full of chocolate chip cookies. And I will venture to say that Chips Ahoy, like if it's not number 1 as far as the dippable cookie that you would dip in milk, then it's got to be 1A to Oreo. But Chips Ahoy is a dang good cookie to dunk in milk and eat.
What do you prefer?
Cookies. I do too.
Do you prefer the original or do you like the soft ones? You know,
I like them.
Your Chips of Chewy.
Mm-hmm. I like them both. But if I had to choose, I'd choose the hard cookie. But I like them both. Like, there was nothing but soft Chips Ahoy around, and I had a hankering for some cookies. Like, I could definitely wolf down many soft Chips Ahoy. They're tasty.
How many comics were ruined because of this ad, though? Kids.
Probably plenty. I had to ruin one or two of my Transformers and just rebought them like in later years. Had to.
Someone's killing the value of my Kickers Incorporated number 7 that I got at the Goodwill with the price tag stuck together.
Kicker sticker.
Pat, what's your ad, my friend?
Well, there are a few good ones in here, but I'm going to go with the M&M one. I just like the colors that on this ad. It really pops out, and you get the M&M plain, or you get the peanuts, and you get all the little M&M characters that are kind of fun to have. And I can't remember if they made these little characters here and there, like little, when they made the raisin people.
Or the California raisins.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got one right here.
Yeah, there you go. Man, those were a thing. Everybody remember. And it was probably around this time too, when everybody was buying that stuff up like it was candy. But man, M&Ms, and how would you eat these? I remember being a kid, probably around this time too, when you're Boy Scouts and you had to sell candy. But you didn't sell, you just ate it all, and then you made all of a sudden your parents are like, "Hey, you owe $50 for this box
I
of
think
candy."
this is just you, Pat, by the way.
That's probably why I had to get a job. Sell paper. But you guys never had to sell candy bars or whatever for
Well, yeah, but I didn't eat them all because I didn't want to be financially liable.
Pat got the diabetes merit badge.
Right. Well, if you weren't eating them all, then were you selling them to people but doubling the price, and then that way you could buy them for yourself?
I'm pretty sure that's illegal, Pat.
What?
I mean, I admitted to stealing a Firefly action figure from another kid on the show, but
not like we would do it, or I would do anything like that. But don't forget to join patreon.com for $1 a month. Just $1 a month. You can join patreon.com. Anyway,
Pat, it's 50 cents, dude. It's 50 cents a month. Come on, man. You're doubling the price.
Oh, all right.
Again, I thought that was an obvious bit, but it's
Jarrett, what ad do you like?
Oh, I'm going with Gru all day. I like the Gru ad. It's, I've loved Gru since I discovered him in probably 86, 87. And I guess this is an ad for it coming out, right? New. So I guess it started late 86, I think, or early 87, maybe with Marvel. It started at PC Comics and then shifted to Marvel after, I think, 8 issues, something like that. Anyways, I love Gru. I knew I was going to take that ad. Plenty of other cool ones. I do want to point out that on the Marvel subscription ad, which features Silver Surfer, see how much you could get your comic books for if you subscribe to Marvel back in 1987?
How much?
56 cents a copy.
Ooh. Take me back in time. I mean, we're not even at that section of the LONGBOX CRUSADE yet, and I still take me away. I want 50-cent comic books again, man.
Mm-hmm. All this talk about M&Ms and 50 Cent. This is a rap episode.
Go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you guys have a favorite ad, you want to let us know about it, you know how to do that. We've said it about 100 times. LONGBOX CRUSADE, all those fancy places. And Delvin already mentioned it. Let's get to the segment that we call Way Back in Time.
Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
What famous date shall I set it to today, Mr. Peabody?
May 1987.
Got it.
Okay, guys, let's talk about what was in the news, what was making headlines in May of 1987. Let's just go straight up clockwise. Pat, DJ Cristados, pick an event from May of 1987 that speaks to you and tell our listening audience what was happening at the time that Kickers Incorporated number 7 was sitting on the spinner rack.
Well, Jared, I'm going to take May 9th because that is my birthday. And on that special day back in 1987, not only was it DJ Cristados' birthday, but also actor Tom Cruise, who you guys know who's Tom Cruise. He was at the age of 27 and still is today.
That's a good one.
Well, it's true, ain't it? But he weds actress Mimi Rogers, who's 33.
I don't remember this at all.
I didn't either. I was like,
me neither.
Man.
I was like, who the heck is Mimi Rogers?
I thought Nicole Kidman was his first wife.
I thought so too. And then Penelope Cruz was the next one, right?
How did they?
I don't think he married her. He married Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes.
Yeah, that's right. Bizarre.
I don't even. Yeah, I have no memory of this at all. All right. Well, happy birthday, Pat, on May 9th of.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy 14th birthday.
Thank you. Young Pat, thanks you.
Delvin, let's keep it going.
On May 11th, the first heart-lung transplant takes place in Baltimore. I believe it happened in Camden Yards. It was very special. Cal Ripken did it.
I think you're thinking of the Iron Man record.
Oh, probably. Iron Man, lung, heart, something. The first part of that was right. The rest of it was just, not as obvious of a bit, like as the other two that I tried, but it's all right. I'm throwing a lot out there tonight, so it's okay if you don't catch it all.
You throw joke pieces out. You guys just build them yourselves. Jason, May 1987. What jumps out at you?
Oh, I'll go back to May 7th here. This is for our good friend Ryan Daly, Cheers cast fame. Diane Chambers, Shelley Long, final episode on TV comedy Cheers. That was a good show.
Oh, man. Yeah, good show. Good show.
Sometimes you gotta go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came.
He's going to keep yelling, isn't he? Nope. All right. On May 29th, Michael Jackson attempted to buy the Elephant Man's remains. I think that's
I know why he didn't buy him.
Oh, I hear.
Couldn't fit it in the trunk.
No, he's not an animal.
Well, why, Pat? Did you have a joke too?
Yeah, it was because he's not an animal. You ever see the Elephant Man? The movie?
Yeah,
You've all been very kind.
Jason really cut you off a better bit. Just zoomed in there. Maybe next time.
I just was pointing out that I saw the Elephant Man. I got his reference.
But your joke was funnier because it couldn't fit in the trunk.
It was funny. He totally stomped on it like a mouse.
I am not an animal. All right. With that hilarity, let's move to May 1987 at the box office. Pat, give us number 3.
All right. Well, coming in at number 3 in the box office for May 1987 is a comedy called Ishtar.
Often maligned comedy that I have seen, and I actually don't think it's nearly as bad as its reputation. And it made over $14 million in 1987. So
I've never seen it, but it's got some good names in it, right? It's got
Warren Beatty,
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman. That's what I remember as one of the characters.
Man, that's like the movie people love to pan, and it's not. I've seen much worse movies than that.
So it couldn't be that bad if the two names that you mentioned went on and did other big movies.
Then you can cut this out if you want, but I feel like that every so often comes a movie that just becomes popular to hate. And I feel like Ishtar was that. And Waterworld that we featured on Pop Culture Podcast. Can't remember if that one's come out or not already. I can't.
Coming out soon, dear.
Soon. Yeah. Waterworld. I think that's another movie that was just popular to hate because if you just watch it as a blank slate, you're like, it's fine. It's fine. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. And we'll let Delvin tell us what the number 2 movie is. And Delvin, please be very honest and forthright when you tell us what number 2 is.
Understood, Jared. The number 2 movie, raking in about $23.5 million, is Ernest. The source of Jared's joke there, Ernest. Ernest Goes to Camp. Know what I mean, Vern?
I, to this day, have not seen an Ernest movie, but I did get the DVD pack at the Goodwill, so now I own them all. And I am looking forward to taking my Ernest adventure. It's got to be good.
Like when I would see the commercials as a kid and growing and a teenager, I'm like, this is dumb. I would never want to watch this. Now like if we were sitting there together, you're like, dude, I'm gonna put on Ernest Goes to, Iraq. You gonna watch?
Which is a real thing.
Right. It's like, you don't see me moving from the couch, right? So,
I think the second to last movie in the franchise is Ernest joins the army, and I think he does go to Iraq. By the way.
Oh my goodness! I would watch it now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Ernest recreates Ishtar.
Yeah. The very last movie in the franchise, I do believe, is Ernest Goes to Africa. And I'm really afraid to find out why that's the last movie in the franchise. Like, well, here we
had
go.
a good run.
Like, even in the 80s or 90s, people were just like, no, man. That just...
I'm nervous about this whole concept. Anyways, Jason, I know you can't wait to tell us what was number one. Fine film. Good times.
I've been biting my lip this whole time. It's Beverly Hills Cop 2. Comedy raked in $276 million.
Oh my! I just want to point out that number 2 raked in $23.5 million, and number 1 $276.5 million.
Ernest can go to hell. That's where Ernest can go.
Wow!
You know that crap. What's Ernest's real name?
Jim Varney.
Thank you. You know Jim Varney. That was like number 2. That ain't so bad.
Yeah, this dumb stuff. Come on.
Who's number 1 again? Eddie Murphy? Oh, no, I'm good, man.
Yeah,
he's like, I beat Ishtar.
That's right. Wait, Jason, my head's spinning. Jim Varney beat out Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty.
I think we have gotten to the source of why it was so maligned. It's like, you couldn't beat Ernest Goes to Camp.
Jared, on action film Face Off, Warren Matthau beat Wesley Snipes.
That's right. Walter Matthau beat Wesley Snipes.
Action film Face Off, folks. Got to check it out. It really happened.
And none of us saw it coming. We were all like, oh, Passenger 57 is going to destroy this weird Walter Matthau 70s movie. And we were wrong. Gloriously so. There was a lot of fun. Both movies fun to watch. Anyways, Beverly Hills Cop 2, underrated. You know, it's kind of like Ghostbusters 2. Everybody kind of like, oh, it's not as good as the first one. I'm like, it's pretty close. It's pretty good.
I
even like the third one. Everybody cracked on.
Wasn't that bad either.
Cop 3, I thought it was good.
I never saw the fourth one, which I think they just called Metro. I think that was just Beverly Hills Cop 4. Anyways, those are your movies of May in 1987. Jason, I need you to get excited right now because we're going to get into the top 3 songs and the Billboard charts for May of 1987. Jason's going to know each and every one of these. He's so excited.
These are 3 bangers. Oh my goodness.
I know. Yes. I can sing these off the top of my head with no problem. I think we all could. All right, Jason, you just closed out the movies. Why don't you start off the music? What's at number 3?
Number 3 is the one. I remember the song, but I couldn't really sing it for you now, so you folks will have to help me.
Hey now.
Don't dream it's over. There we go.
There you go.
Don't Dream It's Over by Crowded House.
Oh.
There is
and that's at number 3?
There is freedom without trying to catch the deluge in a paper cup. That song's awesome.
That's a great song.
And it's at number 3. That's how good this list is.
Crazy.
Let's all just take a moment. So good.
We're going to need all of us for number 1. I'm just throwing that out there.
Delvin, you're back in that number 2 spot. What do you got?
All right, man. Number 2 is Looking for a New Love by Jody Watley. I'm looking for a new love, baby. Even Jason, yes. Jason's tummy feathers are just like completely just tickled, just the right way.
This is like a reading rainbow.
It really is.
It's a listening rainbow.
If you're just watching this, or you're just listening to this in podcast form, Jason's like slowly unbuttoning his shirt as he's singing this song.
All the access.
Pat, DJ Cristados, if you were DJing at the top of the charts in May of 1987, what's the number 1 jam?
Well, Jared, actually at this time, I was probably, I was talking before, I was in high school. So at this time, even in high school, 8th grade and 7th grade, I was DJing the dances at our school. So this probably is good around homecoming time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or not homecoming. This is probably around prom.
Yeah, this is prom time. Yeah, May.
Prom time, yeah.
May, is May. So this is getting spinned. People are getting close, wanting to, kind of have that oh, should I ask her to dance? Do I not want to ask her to dance? Do I want to dance? You know, he's standing by the punch pole waiting for you to dance. But man, if you got a chance to dance with the one that you had an admiration for, you would have just died in their arms that night by the cutting crew.
Must have been something. Must have been something you said.
In your arms tonight. The song's out, Delvin. Could have walked away.
Oh, guys.
Yeah.
This is the last episode we're ever doing of anything.
We have, yeah, like I don't have we ever had one where all of us knew all the songs like that? If we have, it's been a minute. That's all I'm
It's been
saying.
a while. All we gotta do is make sure we land firmly in the 80s, and I think we're gonna be just
That's a good, that's our target area right there.
Get to the 80s and I should have walked away. Should have walked away. Yes.
Oh, well, folks, that
She made it easy. She made it feel right.
right there is the top 3 songs of May of 1987. And keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars.
Very good.
Thank you. Delvin, help me out.
That brings us to the end of this part of the show. Now let's get to the feedback part of the show called Crusader Comments. We are thrilled to kick off these comments with special shout outs to our Crusaders Club members. These are the fine folks that have joined our crusade. They enjoy priority seating as podcast guests, early access to special Longbox episodes, voting to help determine show content, backstage access to live recordings, and so much more. These are the folks reaping the benefits and giving some much appreciated support to the show. And Helica Wolf.
Auburn Elvis.
Bill Beer.
Blast it or stash it.
Braxton Underwood.
Captain Entropy.
Clark Westfield.
Clinton Robeson.
Dave Collins. Battlewagon.
Ezra Gallo.
Gary Viola.
Gene Hendricks.
Gerald Green.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeremy L.
Jim Jarman. I hope you like Jim Jarman too.
Must have been something he said.
Should have walked away. Don't walk away from our Crusaders Club, though. Jim Meal.
Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Captivating Kathy Bright in the super secret chat because she's a Crusaders Club member. Patreon.com/longboxcrusade.
Mark Ross, a.k.a. Cluck Trent.
Matt and Lissy Paso. Matt's also joining us in the chat. Thank you for being here with us, Matt.
Maxwell Traver.
Miranda W.
P.D. Devons.
Paul Hicks. Are any one of these bands that we covered, were they Australian?
That I know of.
Well, dang it.
No.
Rick from Jeff and Rick Present.
Rob Morgan.
Samantha Maney.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67.
Spreadsheet.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And the Toronto Cop.
If we missed anyone on our list, we apologize. Please keep in mind that we record these episodes well in advance of release, so if you're a recent addition, we should be adding you soon. But still, no worries. Just let us know that we missed you by sending an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com and we will get it straightened out. As a reminder, you can become a Crusaders Club member by heading over to patreon.com/longboxcrusade. For as little as $1 a month, you'll get access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. Come check it out. Don't have any extra scratch lying around, but still want to help us out here at LBC headquarters? Please take a moment to write a review on whatever platform you're listening on, or give us a YouTube subscription, and be sure to join us there for live episodes. Now, we are going to talk about Longbox Crusade episode 40, where we talked about Jason's selection, X-Men The Hidden Years #1 from December 1999. And we had social media shares and retweets from, I'll just take them all, y'all. Days of High Adventure Podcast, fam from Friday's podcast, and Scotty Cameron. Thank you all. And we have a few social media comments. We will pass them around. Jason, go for it.
I'll just take the first one up here from the Hammer Strikes, random geeky stuff. He says, out of curiosity, have you gents read Byrne's recent fan work, X-Men Elsewhen? It's an alternate history series, pencils only, picking up, I think, from where he left the original book. And I have to say, as the X-Men fan, probably the #1 X-Men fan from the group here, never heard of it. This is news to me. I'd be interested to check it out.
Jared, go for it.
Breaking news from the chat. Kathy has informed us that Crowded House is Australian. Hey now. I did not know that.
Don't dream it's over.
I did not
That's a great song.
Okay.
All right. Rapidly becoming our number one fan, Scotty Cameron comments. Definitely think Byrne is more of an artist than a writer. I'm more familiar with Spider-Man Chapter 1 than I am X-Men The Hidden Years. And if you were Harvey Dent flipping, you got the scarred side of the coin. I remember that weird way that he connected Spider-Man and Doc Ock's origins and it not really clicking. Yeah, we do bash Chapter 1 quite a bit here on the network. It's just not Byrne's best work. Its biggest problem was coming out at the same time as Ultimate Spider-Man and just paling in comparison. You know, sometimes all the ideas don't hit, but before we move on to Pat's comment, I just want to remind everybody, John Byrne is a freaking artistic genius and will always be remembered as such.
Word.
Sometimes you make some good ones, you make some all right ones. You know, not every day is a good egg.
You're right. Hamilton versus Burr, Werewolf Tale. People tend to like it. You just stop. Just don't do anything else.
All right. I'll take our next comment from Jesse Dijon. And he says, I remember being so excited when this series came out. And so was Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Jason
true.
was
yes.
Were you as excited when it ended?
You know, I thought it ended pretty well. I enjoyed the whole run for what it was. So I'd never read the Spider-Man Chapter 1. I think these kind of came out around the same time, didn't they? Didn't Spider-Man Chapter 1 and X-Men Hidden Years kind of close together? Yeah.
I think so.
Maybe Byrne was trying to do too much.
Maybe.
I was in Vandenberg as a brand new second lieutenant when Spider-Man Chapter 1 was coming out. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I cannot wait till this is over. But again, let's not dwell on negative. Let's not bash.
But I bet you did exactly what I did. You bought every damn issue of the run.
I did. I was, it was just like, you're just bear crawling, that last freaking 50 feet. Like, I will be damned if I don't get to the end of this run. Forearms all bleeding and
Byrne's throwing down thumbtacks and broken glass, and you're like, ah!
Oh my goodness. All right, let me start it back. Thanks for that, Jason. And a quick side note and just moment of gratitude for all the listeners. We have 50 ratings now on Apple Podcasts with an overall rating of 4.9 out of 5. I do believe that's just over half. Thank you for everyone. And hey, maybe next time we do a LONGBOX Crusade, we can have 100 ratings. So if you're listening, go to Apple Podcasts, 5-star rating if you love us. And if you don't love us, then give us a 5-star rating sarcastically. We're okay with it. And next time we can get 100 ratings and we can have a slightly higher rating, like 4.91.
Ooh.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Lofty goals, I know. You can call and leave us a voicemail that we'll play on the show right here.
Hey there, it's Tim Price again, calling about Crusademas Day 3, Luke Cage Hero for Hire number 9. I've read one story from this era of Luke Cage. It was reprinted in a Marvel Christmas Treasury edition when I was a kid. And I've heard about this specific issue, so I had to read it. And wow, it did not disappoint. It's such 70s Marvel madness, and Cage was awesome. Where's my money, honey? Oh, goodness, thanks to Nick for bringing this comic for my stocking. This is Tim Price saying, have a sweet Christmas. Well, hello there, LONGBOX Crusade. I'm calling about Crusademas Day 4, Doctor Strange the Oath. I've read some Doctor Strange, but not a lot. As Luis described the issue, I was really intrigued. And then he said art by Marcos Martin, and I'm like, done. I'm reading this ASAP because I loved Marcos' work on Amazing Spider-Man. This was a fantastic issue. I'm going to finish the series really soon. So that's a great gift, Luis. Thank you. And by the crashing paws of Price, happy Crusademas.
Leave us a message at 707-532-5269. That is 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
Don't dream it's over.
I was waiting on it. Thank you. And thank you to everyone for the likes, shares, follows, and comments. We appreciate your friendship and help in spreading the word about this podcast.
And that is the show. Always check out the website, www.longboxcrusade.com, where posts will be made journaling this crusade, and Pat will post his nudes. I want to thank Pat and Jason and Delvin for joining me on this episode. Before we go, where can the listeners find you on the internet? We will start with Jason, who I think has a new website, www.heynowheynow.com/weaselskull.
Hashtag I just died in your arms tonight. Now you can find me at Jason Albrick on Thread or on Instagram. Delvin
said, I'm looking for a new love.
A new love. Yeah. Boy, Jody Watley back in the day. Woo! I'm gonna go look up Jody Watley now. Sorry. While I do that, y'all can look me up on Twitter X at DE_RAY1977, Instagram at Delvin Ray. Patrick.
Well, Delvin, I am glad you asked. You can find me on the Twitter X at Christatos01. Jarrett, where can people find you?
I am at Yard Sale Artist on X and Instagram and Facebook, and you can check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com. Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the OG Longbox Crusade. As always, comments, questions, contact at longboxcrusade.com is our email. And of course, you can reach out to us on the X and the Facebook and the Instagrams and all those places. The Blue Sky at Longbox Crusade. Until next time, take care. And please join us for the next episode as we continue our crusade to read them all.
The intro music is provided by musical genius Joe November.
Check out his SoundCloud at JOSEFLIN99. You won't regret it.
All songs, song clips, and characters discussed are copyright of their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended. We are just fans that like to share our love of comics.
Outtakes. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the super secret Longbox Crusade recording. Doing a classic tonight, fellas. We're doing the OG LBC.
Super secret. We got the secret.
The secret.
Got the secret.
Secret.
Add it up. See what you got. You gotta add it up. Okay.
How sad.
Take me away. I don't mind. But you gotta promise me I'll be back in time. Gotta be back in time. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
That's all right.
It's having too much fun.
If you're feeling it, you're feeling it. It's fine.
1 second.
Part 2.
That's it.
When the world comes in.
I was live on LBC when we dance.
That Joe November, man. Never forget the hotness he puts together for us.
Oh, man. Joe.
Never.
Got the beats.
It adds that special, what the French say, I don't know what.
I don't know what.